Stop beating up your seams. Hello everyone, JW here. Today we're talking about one of the biggest headaches in turf installations, visible seams. And my message is simple: stop beating up your seams. Most of the time, ugly seams are caused by abrasion and premature matting. When installers walk, kneel, or trample directly on the seam line, the fibers get bent, mashed, and manipulated. And here's the kicker: the minute the sun hits it, UV sunlight will call you out. That seam becomes visible instantly. And here's why. When the synthetic turf fibers are scratched or matted, the sunlight reflects differently compared to the untouched blades around them. Same turf, same color, but it looks like the two different shades because of how the fibers are laying. The number one culprit? Body weight. Knees, boots, and tools pressing into the seam flatten the fibers and make them lose memory. The best rule of thumb is to stay off the seam unless you're the one making the final closure. Next up, let's talk about securing the seam. Nails and staples can create a big problem. Heavy 60D nails can trap fibers, leaving pockmarks that show up dips or shadows. Staples are even worse. They can flare out when they hit the compacted soil or rocks, leaving gaps between the synthetic turf sections. That's why I always recommend using seam tape and adhesive. It gives you the strongest, cleanest seam without any visible marks or manipulation. Infill and power brooming also play a huge role on visible seams. Always start by placing infill by hand at the seam line, working it to the base of the turf backing. Repeat this action until you're roughly halfway to your target height. Do this for about 16 inches out and then fade. You may then complete the infill placement process for the entire area, edges, and faded hand placement of the infilled seam line. Power brooming. Many installers rely too heavily on a power broom to even out the fibers and conceal their mistakes. This is why I say stop beating up your seams. Synthetic turf is made of a plastic. When you scratch plastic, UV light shines differently from its surface, which can be noticeable when scrubbing a seam line and wondering, why does it now appear to be worse than before? And when you do use a power broom, go at least 35 or 45 degree angle with all seams. Never cross over a seam. This may cause a seam to separate and become more visible. And finally, and this is a big one, practice what I call inspect as you go. Don't wait until the job is finished to look at your mistakes. Check your seams throughout the process. Catch any problems early, fix them immediately, and you'll save yourself from costly tear-outs later. And remember, seams should be invisible. With careful workmanship, the right tools, and proper technique, you can deliver a flawless installation every time. Thanks for watching this episode of Ask JW. If you have a question for a future episode, leave it in the comments. Until next time, stop beating up your seams.